It's makeup time! Homeless Hotel edition! Tea time, guys. I'm gonna give you the juice, the scoop, the tea, the bags, all of that. All of it. Even if you didn't ask for it, I'm serving it today. Just for you, because it's Friday at Homeless Hotel. But, I actually was watching that video, guys, about, the kindergarten refresher lesson in the video about how I just, communication, yes, it's a skill, but when we're talking, when we're speaking of these, the top of the food chain humans, they should just kind of have like an innate understanding. And in case they don't have an innate understanding of or overstanding of how communication works, public school, whatever you feel about it, say what you will, most of them teach you, like, hey, be considerate of others' feelings and whatnot, because, you do the same thing, So, yeah, speak towards and treat others how you would want to be spoken to or treated. Right, that was that message. So, but I have to share the story. Like, I kind of didn't want to do it publicly just because it would be kind of embarrassing, I would imagine, for the kid that it happened to, but it is such a fascinating story to me anyway, of course, because, it happened to me, but really, I mean, I think it is. So, me school. I thought I heard, like, I don't know, some strange animal outside of my door. Okay, anyway, all right, guys, School Sam, I was, like, a great student. My teachers liked me, students liked me in my hometown, okay? Maybe that's the way it goes for a lot of people who move around a lot, I don't know. It was the only place I felt respected by my peers. But even at that, like I've always said, I felt different or whatever. So, but I did do well, okay? I did well, I was sociable. There's no reason, I guess where I'm going with this, no reason to really, like, have this dread of school, okay? Like, because pre-K, I was in pre-K. Used to go into pre-K class at noon. It was like, pre-K. And then kindergarten, I started off okay, I believe, but then something happened in kindergarten, and ever since then, where I would just, I hated going to school. Beg, scream for mercy, top of my lungs, like, you please keep me home, like, I can't go. And there was no reason. I could, even, I'm talking as an adult, I went through and analyzed, like, why? Yes, there's the aspect of school. It is made to make you feel depressed. It's very institutionalized. The colors are always like, this weird, ugly blue, gray, or yellow, like painted brick, and like terrible lighting. And, the bell rings at the same time every day, and, it's the same thing it's just that it's depressing. It is. It is. So I'm sure I was sensitive to that anyway. But, yeah, I mean, I just hated going to school. There's just no logical reason for why. And I mean, and when I say this, I mean, it lasted the entirety of my school life. I dropped out. As soon as I turned 16, I had my mom sign me out. I wanted to do that for a while, guy. That was just always something that I wanted to do anyway, because of the situation of the setup of school. I always did well. Like I said, I was in honor society. I was in extra, like I was in band. I was in Odyssey of the Mind for 2 years in a row. Once around the time my dad died, I was about 13, is when I kind of stopped caring. It sounds like typical, like, psychology book, but it is true. Like, I never would just write my name on a test and hand it back, like, F this test. My dad died. Like, I didn't consciously think that. Who cares about the saxophone when dad's dead? I didn't think that, guys, but clearly that is what was going on. prior to this, though, yes, I would cry if I didn't know an answer. I remember crying on a test in like 4th or 5th grade, probably more times, but I can remember when I didn't know one answer on the test. So anyhow, I was academic, whatever. That's how I started off. But yeah, just that dreadful, like the scheduling, because even in so anyway, let me get to the signing out of school, dropping out. Guys, if you do that, like dropping out of high school, I really don't recommend that for people only because you have to be really, really, really strong-willed and go right for the test, or right for the classes to prep you. Because when I was 16, I've mentioned I held back a year because of my birthday, guys. Not because I was too smart or anything like that. No, like my birthday held me back a grade. But, so I was only in 10th grade at 16, so October. So I had to I had to learn all of 10th, 11th, and 12th grade math and things like that, things of that nature, to take my GED. But I did do that right away, and I actually was ahead of my shit talker peers for a minute, because my freshman year of college, I went on a grant and everything like that, community college. I was ahead. I should have been a senior in high school, but I was actually a freshman in college. So, yes, that actually, it does work. It is a real thing. Or like people who do homeschooling or half and half, Yeah, guys, because it's just like some people who like to learn. I'm using my recorders as a mirror. People who like to learn and all that. I hate that defense of like people who are like anti homeschooling. They're like, how are they going to learn social skills? And it's like, learning social skills and being abused and harassed are two very different things, people. Some people, they do like to learn and they have social skills, but in an environment, not everybody gets treated the same. That's not social skills. Social skills isn't just learning to be bullied and learning how to bully back or fight back. Some people, like, if you do like to learn, that sucks. So homeschooling is better in that regard, or half and half. Yes, people, many places do that. I actually wanted to do that for Damon, but with the autism thing, some kids and most kids, they just don't listen to their parents like they do other adults. So in Damon's case, it actually does work out better. That he's not, maybe in the future or something. Anyhow. But right up until me dropping out at this school, they had this thing called like 3 to 10 or 3 to 7s, where if like, oh, you show up late so many times, 3 strikes you're out. 3 strikes you get a 3 to 7. And does it sound like something you want to do, Sam? Or students out there, think about messing up again. You're gonna have to sleep in, and come to school here when everyone else is gone. And do your work alone for 4 hours instead of 7. Does it sound like, do you really want to test us, Samantha? And like, so I just purposefully always be late to school. Like, I'd get there on time and then I walk in late, so I get 3 to 7. And that worked much better for me, yes. And like, once I went to college and the scheduling was different, like it was my own term kind of thing, I didn't have that weird school anxiety. So clearly it was something with the public, like, elementary through high school. And I could never figure this mystery to Samantha of like, why did I have anxiety like that? One dumb psychiatrist, like counselor, when I got to when I was in high school, I had counseling because of the dropping, I wanted to drop out and all of that. They try to, typical, like, whatever, fake, by the book bullshit that they had to do. She put me down as, and I like my IBS. I'm putting this out I'm setting the record straight with my IBS and my adjustment disorder diagnosis that they gave me back in 9th grade. Ma'am, like, can we time travel to that moment prior to you writing that on my record? And but I'm gonna switch, kind of like a Zach Morris thing. I'm gonna freeze time and I'm gonna be the one in the chair, because that was the dumbest fucking diagnosis I think I've ever gotten that I'm aware of, guys. I don't know what's out there yet. I don't know all of what's out yet. I know some, but that was one of the dumbest that I was made aware of. Yeah, adjustment disorder. Like, what, man? Like, it's so, like, you wouldn't have even had to, did I really have to come to this? Like, you, oh, yep, she moved to a new school and her dad died 2 years ago. Whatever, like, okay, adjustment disorder. Like, I don't know, but anyhow, yeah, no, it wasn't adjustment disorder, ma'am, because come to find out, it's so funny. This ties in. So this is school, and yes, it's depressing and all that, of course. But it's amazing how you can repress memories. You know, obviously, we all know that it's a thing. But when you do start to uncover them or recover them, however you want to refer to it as, it does kind of freak you out, because it's like, I gaslit myself. Like, where does is anything sacred? Like, what can I trust if I can't even trust my own mind? Thanks for protecting me, mind. But at the same time, I also, like, can you take a break? Go take 10, you know, go smoke, go try smoking or something. I don't know. Like, so that's why that's what freaks me out about uncovered memories. Obviously, then you have the whole trauma of, oh my God, that really happened. You know, that whole thing too, to cope with. But right, just the concept itself is pretty terrifying, really. Because really, then, what is real? It takes a very strong person to be confident in what you know is your reality. You best be damn sure. Somehow, you better have proof, essentially, and backup of what you are calling your reality, what you're throwing out there. Because, can you really trust yourself? Who can you trust if not your own self? You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, you know? But this story is messed up, so let's fast forward. So that always bugged me, guys, because I'm like, yeah, what was that about, you know? Like, because, again, it's just out of character for me, you know? Like, what was that, Sam? You know, like, why? Why were you so, like, I'm not, like, because I said, guys, and my parents would let me stay home, like, really, they should have had CYS or CPS called. I mean, I was out all of the time. Kind of concerning that, again, they didn't call, because when I say all the time, ask anybody that went to Jackson Ave Elementary, like, all of the time, like, at least once or twice a week. If not, like, you know, like 5 days at a time kind of thing. Because it does cause this weird anxiety when you stay home. It's like calling off of work, you know? It's like, at first it's cool because I'm like, yeah, now I get to watch, I get to watch, like, Facts of Life, you know? And then, like, that hour is over and it's like, it's getting closer to lunch, which means it's closer to the end of the day, which means that this day was irrelevant. Now I could have just went to school, and now I'm gonna have to deal with this again tomorrow, you know, or work, that kind of thing. So then I would, you know, I just continue on that pattern, and my parents just let me. I don't know. I'm not saying like, oh, they were negligent per se, you know. That would be annoying. I'll say in that regard, as a child, I was an annoying kid, because it's hard to deal with that. Right, you know, yes, it would be. But yeah, like, because then again, I'd go to school and everything was kosher, you know. So, like, what was this about, Sam? Like, what was that, you know? I never figured it out. So I'm talking, like, I'm on Facebook one day, and this is like, I don't know, it has to be, I would say like 2011, something like that, 2012, around this time. And I'm talking to a friend that I went to the school with, my elementary school, you know? And we're talking, and long story already, made longer, short-ish. we uncovered a repressed memory. Like we pieced it together. This kid in my class in kindergarten, and mind you, this is like 1990, 90 or 91 or 92 at the latest. Not that long ago, like where teachers were allowed to like beat their students with, I don't know, like those stories you hear. It wasn't that long ago. Okay, this kid, all I remember. So I remembered bits and pieces. This is the story complete with both of us remembering. Okay. They like sit us down in kindergarten. They like shut the door and they make like this, okay, a production is gonna happen. Like something's happening, like a puppet show, or sit down, gather around, children. Gather around, sit down, and stay tuned. So we did. And this kid, it turns out his mom comes in and basically pulls his pants down, bare naked, butt naked, and starts whooping, bends him over her lap. Okay, his mom comes in like a Jerry Springer episode. He sits over her lap, and starts beating him with her sandal. Okay, it was a black kid, and it was a black kid, and his mother was black, and I remember that. And he did, like I said, things between me and my friend, we just, we pieced the story together. What happened was, he remembered even what he got in trouble for, and when he said this, I'm like, oh yes, I do remember. The kid drew, I wouldn't say she was like a hot teacher, our art teacher, Mrs. Donatuccio. She wasn't hot, but in comparison to like Miss Raff and, like these older women, she was the pretty teacher, right? So this kid in kindergarten, he drew her naked. Okay, and yeah, and I do remember that. I remember that. He drew her naked, and this is what that punishment was for. And we never told our parents. I don't think they told our parents, like, hey, just so you know, like, we do shaming in our school. We're cool with that, essentially. That's humiliation. That's no wonder why, yeah, because you're kind of made to feel like, oh, you're a fragile mind at, kindergarten age, regardless if I was held back, regardless if I was maybe a little older than my peers, it's still fragile. You're like, oh, this place isn't safe, obviously. I don't care if you're Sammy Sam, you're gonna feel that way when you witness that. That's embarrassing. And yeah, no, they didn't tell my parents, because I told my mom, I'm like, yeah, no, this was a true story. This really did happen. And I'm like, well, there you go. So that solved the mystery of that, because yeah, like adjustment disorder, guys, like I'm alive. Of course, yes. So technically, if you want to put down adjustment disorder, everything is an adjustment for me, but it's not like I'm so incapable of becoming adjusted that doesn't even make sense, like, ma'am, in psychology, like, or can you, please, like, really, that, it's offensive to me, it's so offensive, because adjustment disorder, of all fucking things, me, really, no, oh, I'm sorry, I don't adjust to seeing others abuse around me. Most children wouldn't. So that would probably explain quite a bit of my class, of that class, and then like us kids from that class in that time, struggling with like just depression or whatever, because this friend of mine who helped dig this memory up, or rediscover this memory. He struggled. I haven't been in touch with him. I don't know what's up with him. But he always struggled with, like, his thing was crying. Like, he'd always cry when his mom left for school. Like, he was one of those kids, like, literally by the window, like, when she dropped him off. That wasn't me, guys, because that was the other, like, thing, mysterioso part of this for me was, like, yeah, I like being home, right? I certainly wasn't homesick, like, oh, like, no offense, mom and dad, you know what I'm saying? Like, that, it wasn't like, I can't be separated. No, it's quite That's probably why I liked school. I was so torn. I was so torn from such a young age. Like, what is this about? But yeah, like, so he had the opposite problem. He had that thing where, like, separation anxiety. But yeah, so he had that. But also just depression. But yeah, like, that might explain some things, guys, as far as our class goes. Like, my class of that, whoever was in that class and was a part of that. Because, I really don't want to share it. It's not like I seek revenge, excuse me, or anything like that necessarily. For those partaking in it. But, I mean, let's say, for instance, this kid, Craig, the one uncovering this mystery with me, Craig and I, let's say, just for argument's sake, that we have some deets incorrect in the story, right? And, oh, well, it was more than that. It wasn't just drawing a teacher or whatever. Regardless, like, there's not much you can say that would justify that being done to a child and in front of his class, no less. And I've always felt bad, feeling bad, because I'm like, I feel, because Craig even remembers the kid's name. I know, yes, I know now. See, I forgot who it was or any of that. Yeah, no. Then I've always felt bad, feeling bad, because I'm like, well, Sam, your feelings stop being a little bitch. Like, you're such a bitch at 5. Like, why do you think he felt? But yeah, it's just funny, like, yeah, guys, there was no real excuse for that, at that time. And I feel like anytime really, because again, I'm gonna take you back now. I'm gonna take you adults, okay, of that era. I'm gonna take you back to kindergarten, okay. Would you like? Would you appreciate that being done? And like, I don't know. At any, regardless. Forget the year that you're in. Okay, let's say the year's 1961, right? And you're in kindergarten. Skip the 61 part, right? Just take that out of that. Just imagine, take it far, really allow yourself to get into your imagination, right? Let's say, and let me be your guide, okay? I'm gonna guide you. You're in kindergarten. It is not 1961. It is 1999, and you're little kindergartner you in kindergarten. Okay. Would you ever find that an acceptable thing to do to the children in a class? Like, beat them with a ruler, beat them on their ass, or allow their parent to beat their ass in front of other children? The year don't matter. I don't care what your surrounding excuses are. Again, it comes down to common decency. Treat others how you would like to be treated. Speak to others how you would like to be spoken to. Yes, we are supposed to grow. We're not perfect. So there is this thing, unfortunately, called individualism, where what some people find to be abrasive, others find to be normal. Because I've mentioned this New York thing with me, where it's like, Jersey, people think I'm aggressive because of, like, like in some of my speech, just because of the area I'm from. I'm not saying, hey, I'm from Jersey, I'm this way. But it is a thing, okay? Just like, I don't know, Southerners might seem laid back, but, really they're plotting a murder of a civilian in town. That sort of thing. They appear laid back because they're laid back, but does that, again, here's another lesson, a refresher, okay? Because I think there might have to be, I think a pop quiz is coming soon. This is why I feel so inclined to share the message. Pop quiz coming out. So again, you gotta really make sure you studied this time, guys. Do not judge a book by its cover, okay? That would be a kindergarten lesson for your pop quiz. And 2 more lessons I'm going to refresh for you in case you need to get, a new pen if it died or whatever, whatever out here. Give you a couple seconds to write this down so you don't forget. Dear lest forget. Speak towards others how you wish to be spoken to. Treat others how you wish to be treated, and do not judge a book by its cover. And perhaps extra credit question would be, sticks and stones may break my bones, but finish the rest. It's just extra credit. You won't be penalized if you get anything. If you can't write the wrong answer. It's more of like it's just extra credit, guys. All right.